Chapter 2. The two basic financial statement. Every organization must prepare all financial transactions that take place in an organization are recorded, then summarized and presented in two financial statements. All financial transactions that take place in an organization are recorded. These accounting records from the main source of information from which the two most important financial statements are prepared: the profit and loss account and the balance sheet. These two statements are the end result of the entire accounting process and reflect in a summarized form everything that has happened over a certain period of time. Conventionally, most financial statements are presented in a T format. Figuring are listed on either side of the T. Financial information is also often presented vertically. In this book, we have used the conventional T format. You can see an example of each type of the end of this chapter. The profit and loss account. To help you understand what this financial statement is all about, let me start by asking you a few questions. First, why is a profit and loss account made? The answer to this question is simple and obvious. As the name suggests, this statement is prepared to find out whether an organization has made a profit or loss. To go on to my second question, why should you want to find out whether you have made profit or not? This question is equally simple to answer. Let's consider three organizations: Daimler, Hilton Hotels, and Microsoft. If I ask you what is the business of each of these companies, your answer would probably be Daimler is in the business of manufacturing and selling automobiles, Microsoft is in the field of developing software, and Hilton provide hospitality services. But the truth is that all these three are actually in one business, and that is to make profit. Their method of doing are so different. The primary objective of standing a business is to earn profit. Unless a business is making a profit, you might want to reconsider whether you wish to continue running it. The third and most important question is, how would you know whether or not a business is making profit? Now this question is not so easy to answer. Is it possible to wander around an organization, observe the amount of activity, check how busy the employees are, and conclude that this is a profitable business? Can you drive through a business area, come across a wonderful looking facility with a very important improved facade, walk inside and see thousands of industries looking working and employees, each extremely occupied, and understand whether that enterprise is making profit or not? It is possible that a busy organization and a wonderfully impressive facility are actually making losses. Of course, it is possible. It is also possible that there could be a humble looking workshop that is making profit. Certainly, it is possible. An organization with a grand facade, high profile client, an outstanding brand, and impressive sales may well be bleeding dry. At the same time, a business operating from a rundown shack could just as well be highly profitable. So, what tells you whether an organization is making profit or not? There is only one way to know this, and that is if a profit and loss account is prepared and studied. It is not only stranger driving past who cannot understand this, but even if you happen to be the owner, you would not know what the bottom line look like unless somebody prepares and hands over to you a financial statement called profit and loss account. The profit and loss account is therefore made to find out whether or not enterprise is making profit. When we say profit, what exactly do we mean? Profit is a situation where the income of an organization exceeds its expenses. If expenses exceed income, it results in a loss in a conventional profit and loss accounting. Incomes are listed on the side and expenses on the other side. Let's look at some typical examples of expenses organizations have. Materials consumed are expenses. Salary and wages are expenses. These are various kinds of selling expenses. Money spent on rent, traveling, stationery are also expenses. If an organization borrows money to run its business, interest will also appear as an expenses. What would you appear on the income side of a profit and loss account? Income should predominantly comprises of sales of goods or services. Income appearing under the heading sales reflects income generated by an organization through its core activities, that is income generated by doing the activities that it supposed to be doing. But organization do something, receive income from source other than sales. For example, interest earned on deposit in a bank, dividend received on investment, or profit on sales of certain asset. Such income would be shown under a heading called other income. You will appreciate that while the essence of running a business enterprise is to make profit, it is equally important that business generate profit by doing what they are supposed to be doing and not what they are not supposed to be doing. Therefore, even if an organization is making profit, if you find that the bulk of its income come from other income, you must still get very worried about that organization. It is essential that income from sales constitute a major proportion of total income. To use a bit of jargon, the sales figure, which in a conventional T type profit and loss account appears on a top right hand, is called top line, and the profit which appears on a bottom left is called as a bottom line. Now, what is business all about? Are we in business to generate top lines, or are we in a business to generate bottom line? It is very important to always keep in mind that business is not about increasing top line. We are not in a business to generate sales. We are in a business to generate profit. But since there can't be a bottom line without a top line, generating sales is equally important. So when I emphasize that business is about bottom line, what I mean is that we are so interested in just any sales. We are only interested in those sales and those prices and credit terms which will generate profit. Top line is merely a means towards achieving an end, and the end is to have healthy bottom line. When you see the top line of a business rise and its bottom line drop, you are witnessing a tragedy. Seeing the sales figure grow could create a misplaced feeling of success unless it is also accompanied by growing profit. The balance sheet. A balance sheet is a financial statement that lists an organization's assets and liabilities. Liabilities constitute what the organization owns, that is, what it has bought. How long should the life be for something to be called an asset? It might now seem that whenever something has a long life, it should be called an asset, and if it has a short life, it should be called an expenses, no matter what the item is, or its value, or the nature of business. But long and shorter are relative terms. How long should the life be for an item to be called an asset? How short should it be for it be called an expenses? Let me ask you two questions to bring this in perspective. A. Suppose I buy something that lets me for 10 months. It is an expense or an asset. I now buy something else that lets me for 10 days. Would this be an expenses or an asset? If we only look at life in the absolute sense, we might tend to call the item that lasts for 10 days an expense and the one that lasts for 10 months an asset. But can it be the other way around? It is possible for the first item to be an expense and the second to be an asset. Yes, it is possible. Let's say we prepare our balance sheet on 31st December and the item that lasts for 10 months it's purchased on 1st January. Since the life of the item as 10 months and the balance sheets of prepared 12 months later, this item will appear in an expenses. Now suppose the one that assets for 10 days has been purchased on 27 December. Life is only 10 days, but since the balance sheet is prepared 4 days later, this item will be listed as an asset. So what do I mean by life? Perhaps even life is not the best way to describe this phenomenon, since I have now shown you the item with shorter life that appears as an asset and one with a longer life that is an expense. Life should be seen in the context of the date on which the balance sheet is prepared. Anything that outlives the balance sheet dates is an asset. Let me now give you the most appropriate word to understand when the money spent should be called as an asset and when an expense. And that word is consumption. Money spent on something that gets entirely consumed before the balance sheet is made is called as expenses. Money spent on something that is not consumed at all on the date of the balance sheet is called as an asset. And money spent on something that is partially consumed and remain partially unconsumed on the date of the balance sheet to the extent it is consumed is called an expenses, and the extent it is not consumed is called an asset. A primary example of this kind of transaction is raw material. You may have observed raw material appearing on the expenses side or a profit and loss account, and inventory of raw material appearing on the asset side of the balance sheet as well. How can the same item be an expenses and an asset at the same time? The portion of raw material that was purchased and consumed prior to the balance sheet date is shown as an expenses, and the portion that remains in the warehouse on the date of the balance sheet appears as an asset. Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, no matter if I have said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. Thank you. Borrowed. When a business needs money, it borrows. It borrows from the owners of a business, in which case it is called capital. It may sound like a contradictions in terms of borrow from the owner. However, for accounting purpose, the owner is considered as independent and distinct from the organization. It also borrows from outsiders, which is called a loan. This is why both the owners as well as the outsider contributions are reflected on the liability side of the balance sheet. Other liabilities are current liabilities, which include creditors, the amounts payable to suppliers and vendors, and bank overdraft. Assets, on the other hand, represent what it owns or the things it has purchased by spending the money that it borrowed. As reflected on the liability side, typical assets include investment in hand, building, machinery, vehicles, computers, tools, etc. These appears as fixed assets. The second category of assets, called current assets, include items like debtors, cash and bank balance, and inventory. To read a balance sheet, must you also know how to make it. An organization has a continuous stream of commercial activity with materials coming in, goods being processed, expenses incurred, sales made, equipment purchase salaries, paid money borrowed, and so on. It is a legal requirement that every organization should prepare a profit and loss account and a balance sheet at least once in a year. But for a clearer understanding of a state of a business, balance sheet should be made and studied for more frequently, perhaps every month or even every week. Evaluating the financial health of a business by understanding and reading its balance sheet is an essential skill for all the key employees of an organization. But it is also necessary that they should know how to make this statement. In an organization, it is the responsibility of a accountant to prepare the financial statement. However, all who are in charge of running and managing the business, beginning with the owner, the president, and the CEO, must know how to read this statement. There cannot be a CEO alive who can afford to say, I do not need to know how to read a balance sheet. CEOs who say so are either not going to remain CEOs for long, or the organization they lead are not going to remain in existence for long. Sooner or later, everyone realizes that their ability to lead successful business largely depends on their ability to read balance sheets. However, a common misconception is that in order to learn how to read balance sheet, one must also know how to make them. This is not true at all. It is quite possible to learn to read, interpret, and understand balance sheets without knowing how they are made. While everyone who is expected to read a balance sheet need not know how to prepare one. It's really not so difficult as many fear that it might be. In fact, I can actually teach you how to make a balance sheet in about 3 minutes. Perhaps you believe that it would take much longer than 3 minutes it learn the art and science of bookkeeping and making financial statements. In fact, it takes several years if you learn in the conventional way, but what I am going to show you is not the accounts method, but a far shorter way in which we will eliminate the bookkeeping and directly prepare these statements using an extremely simple common sense technique. I have used the perhaps balance sheet here to mean both profit and loss account and balance sheet. Let us learn how to make a balance sheet the layperson's way. But first, let us answer a few questions. Where does all the data that goes into the profit and loss account and the balance sheet comes from? It is of course contained in a accounting record of an organization. What exactly do accounting records record? Or in other words, how would you define accounts? Answer: accounts are a record of all financial transactions that takes place in the organization during a particular period. When do we all a transactions a financial transaction? Any transaction which either brings money in or takes money out of the organization can be considered a financial transaction. However, sometimes money may not come in or go out. This may still be a financial transaction if at the end of the transaction either money becomes due to you from someone else or by you to someone else. This is to say that any transaction by which money comes in or money goes out or money becomes due to you or money becomes due to by you is called a financial transaction. And each time a financial transaction takes place, it is account's job to meticulously track and record it. A collection of such record is called accounts. And why do organizations maintain accounts? As we already know, the primary reason to start any business enterprises is to make profit, and profit, as seen earlier, it is not so obvious. Therefore, all transactions that take place get recorded, and whenever gets recorded, periodically gets compressed. A compressed version of accounts is presented in the form of two financial statements. One is called profit and loss account and the other balance sheet. Now this is important for you to understand, so I am going to prepare it. All financial transactions get recorded as part of accounts, and when accounts are summarized, the result is presented in the form of a profit and loss account and a balance sheet. This means that everything that happens in an organization over a certain period must eventually appear either on the face of the profit and loss account or the balance sheet. And between them, the profit and loss account and the balance sheet together reveal just about four types of transactions: expense, income, asset, and liabilities. This therefore tells you that nothing can happen in an organization which is not eventually going to be categorized as one of these four. There are only four possibilities for any transaction that takes place in an organization. So, if you wish to make these financial statements that non-accounts way, all you have to do is look at every transaction that takes place, examine it, assets whenever, whether it is an expense or an income or an asset or a liability, and record it accordingly. Your profit and loss account and balance sheet will now be ready. How does an accountant make a balance sheet? The accountant looks at each transaction, takes it through a series of processes, and eventually prepares a balance sheet. What you don't understand is the process. So, my suggestion is examine each transaction, bypass the process, directly recorded the item in the respective statement, and your balance sheet is ready. Skeptical? Try this. Imagine for a moment that your organization takes a decision to stop maintaining accounts. Instead, it keeps a large box in the middle of entrance lobby, and each time a financial transaction takes place, instead of recording it in the books, written it on a piece of paper and drops it into the box. At the end of certain period, this box is given to you and you are asked to make a profit and loss account and a balance sheet. Can you do it? Of course you can. How will you go about it? First of all, keep a template of a profit and loss account and a balance sheet in front of you as shown here. Now put your hands in the box, takes out one piece of paper at a time, look at the item listed and try identify whether it is an income, an expense, an assets or a liability, and record it accordingly. Perhaps you still feel this can't be done. Well, let's try it out. Let's say on the first piece of paper that you take out of the box is written salaries and wages, where you will record this. This appears to be an expenses. The next piece says traveling cost, also an expenses. Goods or service sold, this is an income. Loan taken, that's a liability. Equipment purchase, an asset. Interest paid on the loan, an expense of course. Rent and electricity payment, these are expenses. Money invested in stocks of other companies are assets. Dividend received on the stocks, income. We can go on and on in this manner, and you will see that for every financial transaction you come up with, or every piece of paper that you take out of the box, you will be able to clarify it as either an income, an expense, an assets or a liability. At the end of the process, you will find that the balance sheet you have prepared using our layperson's method is identical to a balance sheet prepared by four accounts. Do you know your debit from your credits? Debit and credits are two commonly used yet greatly misunderstood accounting words. I have really rarely come across anybody who can confidently attribute a meaning to each of these. There is invariably a feeling that one is a gain, the other a loss. One is positive and the other negative. But it's hard to find any group of people who can reach a conscious on which is which. The reason for this confusion is the fact that these two words by themselves have no meaning at all. They are used primarily to the context of the system of accounting in use almost all over the world, called the double entry system of bookkeeping. What is the system of bookkeeping? The double entry system of bookkeeping works on the premise that each financial transaction that takes place will have an impact on the account heads simultaneously. And what is an account head? An account head is broader than the transaction itself in scope. For instance, if you purchase a writing pad or a pen or a box of DVDs, the relevant account head for all this would be stationery. If you buy a table or a chair or a cupboard, they would come under the accounts head furniture. To consider an example, suppose the admin executive of an organization ordered 2 dozen board pen. A financial transaction has take place and the accounts must record it in books of accounts. As per the double entry system, two accounts head will be simultaneously affected. In this case, which are the two accounts head? One is stationery and other one is cash or a bank account. The double entry system also says that not only will one transaction have an effect on two accounts head, but the effect on each of the two accounts head will, as in Newton's law, be equal and opposite. Let's say our 2 dozen board pen cost 500. Now we know that the two accounts head that will be affected are stationery and cash. It is impact on each of this equal? Yes, each is impacted to the extent of 500. Is the impact opposite? Yes, because as far as stationery is concerned, we have grown richer, and in our wallets or in our bank we have grown poorer. The double entry system of bookkeeping use the words debit and credit to denote the two opposite effects of one transaction on two accounts heads. One account must be debited and other credited. By themselves, these words represent neither good, bad nor positive, negative. They simply represent two opposite impact. If you give a positive connotation to debit in an account, then in that account credit will become negative. If you give a negative connotation to debit in an account, then credit will be positive. Therefore, a debit in a debit account serves as a plus and a debit in a credit account serves as a minus. Similarly, a credit in a credit account has a positive effect and a credit in a debit account has a negative effect. So, if debit card have no meaning by themselves, why did we discuss them? These terms are of no consequences to a non-accounting person. However, this will now give you a further insights into profit and loss account and balance sheets. You know that every transaction that takes place has to be by nature either expense or income or liability or asset. You have now learned that for every transaction that takes place, the accountant will assign an account head and label it either or as debit or credit. This tells us that of the four options, expense, income, liability or asset, two must be debit and credit. Take a look at this profit and loss account and balance sheet presented in the conventional T format. You will notice that expenses and assets are both debit, while incomes and liabilities both have a credit label. What further insight does this give you? This tells you that if both expenses and assets are labeled as debits, they must be similar in same way. On the other hand, income and liabilities must also have a similarly since both carry the tag of credit. Now carefully examine the items appearing on the expenses side and on the asset side. Do you see any similarity between expenses and asset? Look at any expenses. Say salary. Pick out any asset, say furniture. Do you see any similarity between salary and furniture? The similarity between the two is that in both cases money goes out, both involve spending. If we spend 100,000 on payment of salaries today, it will be an expense of tomorrow. We spend another 100,000 but this time purchase furniture for the organization, it will appear as an asset. In both cases money has been spent, but the first time we spent the money it was an expenses. The second time it created an asset. How are income similar to liabilities? If both expenses and asset involves money going out, then incomes and liabilities must be bringing money in. If I give you an amount of money and in exchange purchase the goods that you are selling, these receipts of money will be income to you. If I give you some more money but this time as a loan, it will appear as a liability on your balance sheet. I am now telling you that it is not just that simple, it is twice as simple. Broadly speaking, all financial transactions can be divided into those that bring money in and those that take money out. If money has come in, you now no longer have to choose out of four options to record it. You only have to choose between two, income or liability. If money goes out, choose between only two options, expense or asset. How are expenses different from asset? You now know the similarity between an expenses and an asset. Each time money goes out, it is either an expenses or an asset. But you must not that money spent is not both expenses and asset but either one of the two. This means we must also know the difference between the two. We must know the difference because each time money goes out, we are expected to choose has this resulted in an expense or has it credited an asset. When is money spent called an expense and when it is considered as asset? The connotations expenses and asset carry a number of misconceptions. People often think that money spent on tangible items like machinery or a car or a computer are assets and on intangible like salary, rent, traveling are expenses. This is not strictly true. Raw material and consumables are also tangible and usually appear as expenses.